Last year, I went to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, the latest installment on the Mission Impossible series, which I have really enjoyed over the years. I have really loved the Mission Impossible series. I have a few of them on DVD. But before that, I had gone to see Avengers Endgame, which was in 2019. Now you might be asking yourself, well, what was the issue between 2019 and 2023? Why such a long stint in between going to see movies at the theater? Well, I think that my experience is reflective of the industry as a whole, especially when it comes to theater, but not only theater, but entertainment as a whole. And I wanted to get into that today a little bit. So let's first start with theaters. Why are we seeing this decline in the theaters? Let's lay out a couple different possible issues with attendance at theaters declining. So the first one that comes to mind, especially within that time period, is the faux pandemic. And when I say faux pandemic, I mean that it really wasn't a pandemic. It was something that was put on as one. It really wasn't. And it's not that it didn't affect people, but there's other things that affect people every single year and worse than what that was. And so that is why I call it that. You could say it was that, and you would probably, that would be part of the reason, right? Part of the reason why people didn't go, because it couldn't. Weren't allowed. And the theaters took a big hit during that time, and really have never recovered from it. So that's one reason. Another reason is movie ticket pricing. Movie tickets on average, and I think this is from 2023, is like $11.23. $11.23. They're expensive. You know, if you got a family of 4 and then you're gonna go and buy snacks and stuff there, because it's not gonna allow you to bring in snacks, because their snack bar is just atrociously expensive. I mean, you're talking about dropping a C note just to go see one movie for your family, which is ridiculous. Let me give you some more stats here. It says only 852 million movie tickets were sold in 2023, down by 46% from the peak year of 2002, which is 1.58 billion tickets. So we're talking about 21 years ago. So we're talking about within a generation. That should give you a hint of the direction that we're going. This 46% decline in ticket sales over 21 years comes despite a 17% increase of the US population in that same period. And it's not because of babies being born, it's mostly because of people being here, coming in illegally. You could also say it is because of the streaming services and the onset of streaming services, because the decline was going on way before the faux pandemic. You can see the decline of people going to see movies, but it wasn't to the degree that it is right now. But I don't think that's it either. Because if you look at the top 10 streaming shows, they're all like from old shows, rerun shows. I mean, let's look at this chart right here. The number one is NCIS. What, that's been here since 2002, 2001, something crazy like that? NCIS, it just left, right? That's crazy. That is crazy, but that's number one. And let's take a look at a couple of the other ones. And you've got their Grey's Anatomy, that's been gone for a minute. Criminal Minds, Stranger Things, Gilmore Girls, Heartland, which has been around for a good minute, y'all. That's been around since 2007. It's all older stuff, just dominating the top 10, and then it starts to get a little mixed in the top 20, even though it's still mostly older stuff. Why? Why do you think this goes on? It's interesting. I personally am watching older stuff. Lately, I've just been watching 2 shows. I've been watching some Psych just to get my laugh on, and I've been watching my favorite television show of all time, The Twilight Zone. So yeah, it's a trend, and it's been going on for quite a long time. Why do you think that is? People aren't going to the theaters. People are watching older shows. Is there something else going on here? It may be. It may be. And let's try to get down to where I live. And when you're talking about IPs of like film and television, it's always older stuff. It's not any of the newer stuff. Always the older stuff. Look, you got Blade Runner. What was that? 83, somewhere in there, 81, 83, something like that. You have Alien, both of these from Free League Publishing, and Alien, I think, was 78. Then you have things like, let's even go to 007. Victory Games back in the day came out with a 007 game, and that was from what? 1953, right? I think that was the first time Ian Fleming came out with Casino Royale. I think the next year they had like a movie on him, or a television appearance, but he really didn't start appearing in movies, I think, until the 60s. That's older. And let's not forget the classic one, the one that I'm actually playing right now, and I have been playing for the last 5 years, based on an IP from before I was even born, is Lord of the Rings with the One Ring. What's going on? I mean, you would think that it would be like some of the newer IPs would be, flooding the market, but that's not true. As a matter of fact, anytime that they try to come back with an older IP and redo it again, it just bombs. Why is that? What's going on? Well, even though all of those things that I just mentioned contribute, it's not the reason that we're seeing this decline and this reach back into the past, older shows and things like that. They're looking for something. And what we have seen happen over the years, and this has been going on now for quite a long time. What we have seen is the absolute dismantling and murder, the infiltration of murderers of story. These people are murderers, and they do it happily. And it's why entertainment is in the state it is in. And here's the thing. They know they are destroying it. They understand it. They think this is what people want, though. And they're finding out it's not. People don't go to the theaters because, by their admission, there ain't nothing there that they want to see. People are going back and streaming older television programs because there ain't nothing new that really they would want to invest a whole lot of time into. It's because of the murder of story. There are three main tools that these serial killers and murderers of story have used for years now and have been successful. Number one is the social and cultural propaganda. That's always there. Number two is identity politics. They can't get out of that. And number three is a far leftist Marxist ideology, which has been reframed and relabeled as woke. It is through the use, constant, incessant use of those three elements that have come in and murdered story. Nobody gets excited about going to see a movie anymore because nothing is worth going to see, because the tools that are being used are killing story, and what people are fiending for is story. That's what they're looking for. Stories are supposed to uplift and challenge us. We don't want to go see a story to be slammed upside the head with some far leftist Marxist ideology. We went there to be entertained, or we went there to be uplifted. We went there to be challenged. We went there to be inspired. The one thing we didn't go there for is to have somebody preach at us and tell us how we're less than, and to simply browbeat us and then call that entertainment. People don't want that. So they don't go to the theaters. And when they stream older stuff. Because even though it's a mere 20 years ago, people were more concerned with story. Now, here on RPG Elite, that will always be a problem. And if you are not familiar with this channel, RPG Elite has a philosophy. It's the RPG Elite philosophy, and there's 10 qualities to it. And the number one quality is RPG Elite quality number 8. It tops them all. It is part of the top 3. And it's this, folks. It's about the story, not the system. Now, we're talking about tabletop RPG specifically here, but really it's about the story in life. But when it comes to any type of media or entertainment, it really should be about the story. Novels and comic books and film and movies and, yes, tabletop RPGs. Now, why am I saying all of this? Well, I'm saying all of this because it comes downstream, folks, and it's come downstream to tabletop RPGs. We have to deal with it here also because we have whole companies that have writing and using those tools in their games. They're using far leftist Marxist ideology. They're using the social and cultural propaganda. They're using all those things, but this is what they're doing, just like they're doing it in the other media outlets. They're reframing it and redefining things because they have to. Because really they are enemies of the elements that people want to have in their stories. And these are time-tested elements. Things like courage, loyalty, goodness, integrity, honor, mercy, righteousness, purity. And all of those things are now enemies of the story because serial killers have come in and now redefined what it is and what you have to have. It's a sad day because the tools have now usurped the story and people see it and they don't want it. So why is all of this happening? Well, it can be summed up with a Bible verse. And those of you who know me, you know that's where I live. And if you don't know me and you're new to the channel, well, now you know. But this is why they're using these tools. This Bible verse nails it. And it comes to us from the book of Isaiah, the prophet, chapter 5, verse 20. Let's take a look at it. It says this: "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, sweet for bitter." That is why those elements that I just got done listing are enemies of these serial killers. And that's why they don't want this in their so-called entertainment. Now, granted, anytime that a writer writes anything and there's a story involved, there's something going on there. A message is being conveyed, and we have to find out what that message is. And that's why that same thing that's going on in the culture goes on in the tabletop RPG space. You have whole companies that have decided that these tools are the tools that they need to use to browbeat players and everybody and vilify and denigrate those players also. And then they want to try to come at you with things that they think are good, which end up being just insidious tools that end up pushing those very same thing. They call them safety tools and consent forms and all the rest of this stuff. And at the end of the day, all it is furthering the murder of story. That's all it is. It's sad, but it's true. Now, I know this video is not going to resonate with everybody who sees it, and I get that, and that's good. My haters will be triggered and come out of the woodwork, and that's good because videos like this are meant, let me just put it out there, meant to trigger my haters and meant to encourage those who are watching that you are not crazy. In this space, you're always going to have somebody who hates you, because if you don't, That's bad news. So I'm in good company because the Lord Jesus says this in the Bible. He says, "Woe unto you when all men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets." Yeah. False, untrue, unrighteous, unholy prophets. Those guys everyone likes. It is the true that they hate. You can't stand them. And I know that there are people out there who dislike me because of the things that I say. And this one right here, this is not a matter of disagreeing. This is a matter of right and wrong and good and evil. This is a matter that goes far, far deeper than you ever imagine. You think that all the stuff, the tools and all the rest of that stuff, that is just the symptom of what that verse is talking about. It's just a symptom. It is an outward expression of an inward condition of the entertainment industry and what is really the problem. Now, again, you can sit up there and you would disagree, but I normally am kidding when I talk about this in this way, but I'm not kidding this time. You're wrong. And not only are you wrong, but it's not okay to be wrong in this situation, because it also means that you're blind and you're leading other people into this nonsense to think that it's not that big of a deal when it is. I'm just saying. Now, I've been accused of being such a downer, and I know this stuff is not stuff that you want to talk about. The vast majority of my stuff on the stuff that I do on this channel is about other stuff, right? It's about games, it's about tools, it's about tutorials, it's about other stuff, vast majority of it, right? But this has to be addressed because it's here. I'm an optimistic realist, and that means that I really do want the best, but I see what is in front of me and I don't ignore it. I'm not a coward, and I'm not going to run from it, and I'm not going to be up there trying to get everybody to like me, because woe unto you when all men speak well of you. That means that you're not saying anything that's worth anything. Just saying. I'd rather live here on the side of truth and all of those elements that I talked about before. True virtues. I'd rather live here. Now, if you've gotten any value out of this video at all, if you're not sufficiently running for the hills and hitting the down button, then if you could, go ahead and hit the opposite one. Crush the like button. That would be cool. And if you want to stick around, then feel free. I come out with videos every Tuesday and Friday. They're not always this deep, but every once in a while, yeah, I come out with something like this. So maybe you just might want to stick around and see what's up. Then go ahead, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. All right, here's the question of the vid for today. And the question is this: of the three things, the three tools that serial killers use, which one do you think is the worst? Or do you think there's one that's worse than that has not been mentioned? Go ahead, let me know down in the comments below. I would be interested to know. Go ahead, down in the comments below right now. Get some engagement going. Let's see the hate and let's see all the rest of that stuff that's probably coming. All right, that's it, folks. I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta do my Snagglepuss.
So exit, stage left.
Hey, if you got a game coming up this week, then happy gaming, y'all. I pray it is an RPG Elite session. I pray it is fantastic. So until next time, God willing, your boy, servant, gotta say peace, 5,000 elites. I am, as always, howdy.